Hey, what's up, guys? Super excited to be with you today. As always, Dr. Jeff Knight. I've got a special guest with us today, Mr. Gavin Poulton. He is an essential oils expert and a good friend. We've known each other for almost 20 years. Been blessed to be a part of his life, and every time we get together, we just have a blast. So I wanted to bring him on today just to create some value for all you guys, because I know essential oils is a big thing. I mean, a lot of our patients use essential oils. I mean, almost everyone I know has some essential oil probably in their house.
Yeah.
Some of them know what to do with them. Some of them have no clue what to do. But Gavin has a really cool personal experience where essential oils is basically it saved your life, right, Gavin?
Totally. Yeah.
Would you be willing to share?
Yeah, you bet. So back in 2009, I was diagnosed with liver disease, and this liver disease is such that there's technically no cure from a medical standpoint, right? And basically they say, Gav, you're going to die in 1 to 10 years if you don't have a liver transplant. And I started to get bad really fast. In fact, just 2 months later, I was in the hospital, back in the doctor's office, and he's like, hey, dude, we got to put a stent in your bile duct. And it was an interesting experience, but he said, you're bad. You're doing really bad. So what happened, they actually put stents in to keep me alive because I couldn't function, right? The pain was so bad. I couldn't eat. I was just thrown up. It was just horrible. Jaundice. If you've ever experienced anything liver-wise, it was just not a fun experience. But here's the thing, guys. It was so cool because just a few months later, after I'd had the second stent put in, usually, not all the time, but in general, if you've had 3 stents, then boom, you're going to go on the transplant list. I had my second stent put in, and then I was introduced to 2 essential oils in particular. One called frankincense and one called geranium. You may have heard of these, right? Frankincense, I began to utilize that just 2 drops internally, right? And just 1 drop of geranium topically. Now, a lot of times people think that topical application of essential oils is not near as potent as an internal, or just isn't as potent as they think it could be, and it is. Because let me tell you what happened. I did this for 2 weeks, and I went back to have another procedure done to have possibly a 3rd stent put in. And the doctor comes out and he says, Gav, the stent is no longer in your body.
It's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
So cool.
Yeah. And he says, your levels are normal, and I don't want to see you for 6 months. And so then from that time on, Jeff, I just continued to utilize essential oils.
Right.
And in fact, I had my blood work done just a little while ago, and they're like, we can't even tell you have had a liver disease. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
So
it's a pain to purpose story, right?
That is a good way to put it.
And one that we love to hear, because there's always a lot of questions about the validity of essential oils, or how effective are they, and of course there's going to be some key things that go into the quality as well.
Right.
So could you talk a little bit about what makes an oil very effective, and what are ones that you want to avoid? And you don't necessarily need to name labels or anything.
No.
But what are some things that people can look for to make sure that they got a good quality product?
You bet. Some of the things you can look for, the very first thing you need to look for is make sure whatever brand you're buying, that they're very transparent in the fact that you can look up their third-party testing. So when you go to look at an oil, whatever brand it is, if let's say you chose a rosemary, right? You click on rosemary, and there should be a way to be able to look at the testing that's done there, and then you'll see from a third party. You don't want oil that's been tested by the company. No, we want a third party, and then you can actually see in that report, is there any contaminants, adulterants, anything added into that, right?
Okay.
That's absolutely key, right? That's the main thing you can do. If you want to be proactive about getting really good oils, you need to make sure they're third-party tested. You want to know what type of, is it indigenous, right? Is the oil indigenous, or are they getting the oil or the plant from where it's indigenous? Now, is this always the case? Not necessarily, but you want to work with people that are focused on striving to get oils like that. And also I like getting oils where they work with small farmers, because those small farmers, usually it's been in the business, in the family for years, right? And they're just really good at their craft. But at the same time, when you go to these small farmers, they're not going to be using pesticides, right? They're not going to be using stuff that we don't want in our body.
For sure. Awesome.
So that's just a couple ways.
Cool. And any last little tips, like just some good takeaways that people could gather from some of maybe 1 or 2 of your favorite oils, and how they could potentially use it for I mean, whatever. I mean, what's a topic that you've been really into lately, or I know you get a huge following. So Gavin has he's got a group, a Facebook group. It's called Hope Bottled, right?
Yep, Hope Bottled group.
So, if you want to get some incredible information on a regular basis, go there. Also on YouTube, he has tons of videos. He told me he just has created up to 70 different videos, all on like digestion, what are pain, inflammation,
anxiety, different type of emotional challenges, all sorts of things. Kids' health, right, which is a big deal, knowing that he and I, between the two of us, have 10 kids, right? Yeah. That's a big deal. And so I've tried to create videos that the moment you can take from that and begin to apply it right now. But something that comes up a lot is they're like, Gav, what's your favorite oil? Or what's your top 10 oils, right? What would someone always want to have, either in a first aid kit or in their home? And one of the oils that I would suggest for anyone, because of its multiple uses, is one called rosemary. If you've never utilized rosemary, it is unbelievable. Now, granted, this oil can be used in so many ways, but it affects so many systems of the body. It affects your brain, your liver, your lungs, right? It's also a muscle relaxer. It can help calm the muscles. It's even good for bone health, right? If you're experiencing some type of pain or discomfort within the bones, it can be good for that. But it's just such a universal oil, but it's very gentle, right? It's not one you technically have to dilute for. It's considered what we call neat. If you're using it for the first time, please dilute with a carrier oil, but in general, you don't really have to because it's such a gentle oil. But rosemary is just key, and what's great is it's so cost effective. It's easy to find, and it's just a fantastic oil.
So how would someone apply that? Would they do it orally, topically, under the feet? I mean, you hear about different ways that people can apply the oil. Absolutely. So with rosemary, let's just say with helping the muscles, how would you do that?
You bet. So let's say, for example, this can be technically used internally, topically, and aromatically. But guys, when we say internally, there's a lot of information out there that's very liberal in how you take things internally. You got to remember, essential oils are so concentrated, and don't you dare put an essential oil in your mouth if you're not truly sure it's been third-party tested, verified, legit, and pure. Because just 100% pure on a bottle doesn't mean it's 100% pure. But where would I use it? If I had some sore muscles, let me show you an example of how I use it. Sometimes when I wake up, I'll just have some stiffness in my spine or the muscles around my spine. So I'll just take that rosemary and I'll put it right down my back and then just kind of come up before I go to bed and just rub that around the spinal area, and I wake up without any discomfort.
Cool.
All right, very easy. Very easy.
Awesome.
Yep.
Great. Anything else you want to add as far as any other pieces of insight? Again, just remind them how they can find you on Facebook or on YouTube or whatever would work best to engage with you.
You bet. Come to YouTube channel, right? We do a lot of new videos often. I love comments and love to hear what you'd like to see, because I want to create something that's helpful for you and your family. I mean, that's part of the reason why Jeff and I are here today, is because we wanted to come together and create information, valuable information for families, because we care about families and we understand the chaos that can be within the home, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we want to make that a little easier.
No doubt.
But yeah, Hope Bottled YouTube channel is great, or just ask to join. It's a closed group called the Hope Bottled Group. It's closed, but just ask to join. Just say, hey, I saw you with Dr. Jeff, and hey, we'd love to have you be a part of us. And that's where we get into some real Facebook Lives and real questions.
Right. Well, hey, again, the purpose of why we came together today really was, number one, of course, friendship, but also we're looking forward to creating a podcast. We're going to just look forward to just share a ton of great value, want to help all of you people involved, because we understand, there's so much information out there, and our honest truth, the goal is to provide, good information, resources, and ways you can utilize it to maximize your health, create the best version of you possible, right, as well as your family. So thanks again for being with us today, and yeah, go ahead and share this with your friends if you found this to be valuable. So look forward to chatting with you and catching up with you next time.
We'll see you guys.
Thanks.